Hey, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday with Pastor Josh. Wisdom is the knowledge of what is true or right, coupled with just judgment as to action, sagacity, discernment, and insight. So let's talk about what the wise thing is to do on this edition of Wisdom Wednesday. Are you a frenemy? What is a frenemy? You might say, I don't even know what that is. A frenemy is considered to be an oxymoron. It is basically. I just realized it sounded like I called you a moron. I didn't call you a moron. It says it's an oxymoron. So basically, it's kind of a paradox of sorts. It's a blending of a friend and an enemy. So when you do that, you get frenemy, right? So it's this idea of being friendly to someone you dislike. It's pretending to be a friend, even though you're really more of an enemy. I'm a friend so long as you don't bomb me, right? Or so long as I don't need to bomb you. Okay, maybe I'm using some warlike language, maybe some country-like language, because obviously we have several nations in the world that probably would be considered frenemies of America. Because right now they haven't decided to blow us up. We haven't decided to blow them up, and we're friends, but maybe not friends. Maybe we're more enemies who act friendly, if that makes any sense. Being in youth ministry for as long as my wife and I had been, we had many conversations with students about friends and how to make friends. And did you know that being friendly and making friends is actually an act of wisdom, that wise people know how to make friends, and they make good friends, because foolish people have not good friends. And so all throughout the Proverbs, you'll see that King Solomon talks a lot about this kind of relationship and what it looks like. And so let me ask you a question. Are you a frenemy? Are you someone who is friendly, but you really dislike people, and maybe you pretend to be friends with them, but you're really not? Maybe you have some people who are like that with you. It's hard to tell at times who is a frenemy to us and who's really a friend. And it's pretty easy to know who an enemy is. So there's some things that King Solomon tells us when it comes to friends. And I want to read a couple verses from Proverbs. We have Proverbs 16:28. It says, "A contrary person spreads conflict, and a gossip separates close friends." So friends don't gossip, right? They don't talk about others to others. I love what Pastor Rod said in our sermon a couple of weeks ago on Palm Sunday, where he talked about zebas. He says that a zeba is, and I'll read it to you. I have my notes right here. It says that people who are negative about others to me are negative about me to others. Another way that he says it later on is he says, if they talk to me about others, they will talk to others about me. That's what gossip is, right? If you have a loose tongue and you like to talk about people to other people who aren't those people, then you might have a problem. You might be a frenemy. Somebody who is really acting like a friend but isn't really a friend. Because friends don't betray confidence. They don't share about others behind their back. Proverbs 17:9 says, whoever conceals an offense promotes love. Because remember, love casts out all fear, right? And it also covers a multitude of sins. It says, so whoever conceals an offense promotes love, but whoever gossips about it separates close friends. So we have a little bit of a variation of it, but kind of the same verse here. It says, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a difficult time. It says, and one without sense enters an agreement and puts up security for his friends. And so it just kind of goes on. If you do a search on Proverbs for friend, you will find a ton of scriptures that talk about what a friend really is. It even says in Proverbs 27:6, it says, the wounds of a friend are trustworthy, but the kisses of an enemy are excessive. And so it kind of speaks to the idea of frenemy versus a real friend. Somebody who can wound you as a friend, and that's different than a wound from an enemy, because a wound from a friend is a wound that is, yes, it is needed, but only so that healing can come. They have your best interest at heart, and they are there for the process of helping you heal. They're not just there to wound you and run. And so people that we trust, we know that they're good with the scalpel, right? If you know a doctor is good at his job and you know that his reputation is good in handling wounds that have been inflicted, that he inflicts, those are trustworthy surgeons to be with, right? Like those are the ones you want operating on you. You want the most trusted one. You want the one who's done this before. You want the one who you can trust with the scalpel. Who can you trust in your life with the scalpel? Many times we would tell our students, going back to that train of thought that I started earlier, we used to tell our students that, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Because many times the people we hang out with are the people who help shape us. And so if you look at the friends around you, are they the people who you want to be like? Are they the ones who are leading you towards knowing Christ more? Or are they the ones who are causing you to be driven towards things that you shouldn't be driven towards, that aren't wise, that aren't godly, that are sinful, that are destructive? Who are your friends? Show me your friends. I'll show you your future. Who you hang out with will determine where you are going. They're the people that will help you get there along the way. I remember the story, Pilgrim's Progress. If you remember that book or have watched the movie, there's lots of friends that came along to help Christian, and there's lots of friends who came along to not help Christian. And it's important to know who our friends are, because they have a huge pull in the direction that we go and how we do along the path that we are called to walk. And so Paul even told us this also. He quotes and says that bad company corrupts good character, or good, bad company corrupts good morals. And so it's important for us to know who our friends are and who our enemies are, and that we ourselves would not choose to be either one of those things. And so that would leave me with this last thought. To be a good friend, or to really have good friends, one of the best ways to do that is to be a good friend to people around you. And then you'll begin to build relationships with people. I've had kids say, well, I don't have any friends. And they're always looking for friends, but they're not necessarily looking to be a friend. And many times if we're ready to be a friend, we'll find good friends, because we will be able to share the kind of friendship that we want to have with others. So it's a little bit of a tightrope, because you want to be a good friend, but you also have to make sure you choose good friends. And so it's important, because show me your friends, it'll show me your future. And so where are you heading? What relationships are going to get you there? It's a good thing for us to look at on this Wisdom Wednesday. We love you. Thanks for tuning in today. Bless you in Jesus' name.